phone, tablet. Hello, viewers, hello, subscribers. Another beautiful day. Hope your 5 senses work. Health and strength is good or excellent. Yep. All right, what I got for you? Oh, Linux kernel time. Yeah, got you covered. Listen to this. Just the extension, file system boost, and changes to help SSD last longer. All right. Linux kernel 6.17 release. This is what's new. Yeah, got you guys covered. Listen to this. Linus Torvald has announced the release of Linux kernel 6.17, an update that brings improved hardware support and a number of core system improvements. Says here the new kernel provides graphics driver for the latest Intel Panther Lake laptops, better power management features for devices with AMD hybrid GPUs, resolves a software bug that's been knocking around since, get this, 1993, and helps SSD last longer. Says here, announcing the release on Linux kernel mailing list, LKML, Linus Torvald says, no huge surprise this past week. So here we are with kernel 6.17 pushes out and ready to go. Says here, Ubuntu 25.10 ship with the new kernel, including in the beta build that was released last week. Users on the current long-term support release, Ubuntu 24.4 LTS, will receive kernel 6.17 as part of the next hardware enablement HWE update in early 2026. Says here, is this kernel a solid upgrade? You know it is. For a whip through the new features in Linux 6.17, which caught my eyes, read on. Subtopic, Linux 6.17, what's new? Graphics and gaming. Yeah. All right. Says here, the first Core Ultra 3 series laptop powered by Intel Panther Lake chips are due to go on sale soon. So it is timely that Intel Xe3 integrated graphics are enabled by default. In Linux 6.17, this ensures anyone bagging a new model and installing Ubuntu 25.10 gets solid graphics performance off the bat. Then it says it's on blue here. It says here, smart mux in 6.17 will switch between integrated and discrete graphics on AMD laptops. It says here, for those using a laptop equipped with Core Ultra 2 series Lunar Lake chips, the Intel IPU7 driver has proper web camera support, ideal for online meetings, social chat, and accidental jump scares when launching the camera app by accident. Says here, AMD hybrid GPU laptop gain smart mux support with Linux 6.17. This auto switches between integrated and discrete graphics based on workloads to obviously save power or deliver maximum performance if needed. Says here, Lenovo WMI gaming series driver adds support for both Legion Go and the SteamOS powered Legion Go S handheld, which will be especially handy for those looking to run other kinds of Linux-based operating system on the AMD-powered handheld. Then it says here, the kernel also standardizes the key code used by the mysterious performance boost. Key on newer Dells and Alienware laptop. Sorry about that. And the Fruitiger, Aereo locking Fly DG Apex gaming controller now has proper support on Linux. Nice. Says here on a tangentially gaming related note, the networking stack adds dual P12 congestion control support. This helps to reduce network queue latency, which should prove beneficial for online gaming, streaming, video calls, and other real-time application. All right, now it says file system changes. Then it says here, kernel rights changes may help SSD last longer. Says here, there are many file system improvement in 6.17 that will be directly appreciable by those of us running a desktop Linux distribution, not just the one this site is named after either. It says here, then it says in all blue, Ubuntu default files system is extension 4, and Linux 6.17 sees major performance boost. It says here, perhaps most significant, the kernel can now write zeros efficiently without actually I/0 operation. Says here, on NVMe SSD that support DEAC, bit and SCSI SSDs, which supports UMM app bit. Then it says in parentheses, a bit is a kind of indicator of a feature state. Then it says here, the fall OC, then it's like space, then it's underscore FL underscore right underscore 0, and then it says fall, then it says F allocate, and then 2 brackets. It says here, will mark storage region as 0 filled internally on modern SSDs. This will improve performance and reduce wears. SSD theoretically have finite read/write lifespan, so fewer writes will equal last longer. It says here, Ubuntu file system extension 4 improve block allocation scalability per benchmark. This provides noticeable performance benefits under I/O heavy tasks like querying databases or copying large numbers of files. Then it says BTRFS adds experimental large folio support, which reduces memory management overhead when handling large file. This combined with compression control during defragmentation, that's a big word, makes BTRFS better suited to performance sensitive workload. Then it says EROFS, that's EROFS, supports metadata compression and faster directory reading, which should prove especially handy on system with read-only root file system or in container-heavy workloads. There is no BCA chef in the 6.17 merge reports. Anyway, subtopic, laptop support. Says here, Linux support on M1 and M2 Mac continues to improve in Linux 6.17 with the Apple Silicon SMC driver enabling proper rebooting for M1 and M2 Macs, with works to run Linux on M3 and M4 Macs in limbo. It's nice. What's this? It's nice. Earlier gems are improving their mainline support. Says here, the touch bar on Intel-based MacBooks Pro see further improvements in Linux 6.17, which patches to enable touchscreen input, albeit with a few lingering quirks. Apple ends support for Intel-based Macs after Mac OS 26, so Linux will give those devices a new lease on life. Gotta love Linux, man. Anyway, says here, elsewhere, Linux 6.17 bring mainline support for ASUS, ZenBook, A14, Snapdragon X1 Plus / Elite laptops, allowing more Linux distribution to run on these ARM-based Windows devices. There's also mainline support for Raspberry Pi 5 RP1 IO chips. Now, it says in all blue here, got a keyboard with F13 space F24 keys. Those are now properly mapped in Linux 6.17. Says here support for crosshair HX 1200i PSU monitoring. Then it says in parentheses 2025 models is present. Wake on touch support add to the Intel Touch host controller, along with overlay objects support great for tablet and 2-in-1 users, and kernel mapping for F13 space F24 keys on PS/2 keyboard, not PlayStation 2. Anyway, says here, yes, keyboards with an additional 12 function keys actually exist. For those who don't know, says here HD audio support is extended to cover the framework laptop 13 with AMD Ryzen AI 300 commercial Asus laptop using CS35L41 HDA and HP EliteBook models, USB audio, offloading. Then it says in parentheses a feature in Linux 6.xx. Then it says covers more mobile devices, including Fairphone 4. Then it said, okay, another subtopic, core kernel changes. It says here, new attack vector controls have been integrated to simplify security handling for known CPU vulnerabilities such as Spectre and Meltdown. Previously, each mitigation had its own kernel command line option. In 6.17, there's a unified option. And then it says, making it easier for Linux server admins and others to disable unneeded protection may help them claw back performance dips. Certain mitigation requires as well, makes it easier to manage the growing numbers of hardware vulnerabilities. Band-Aid. Says here, support for unit processors configuration has been removed from the kernel scheduler. Every machine, even those which run on a single core processor, will now unconditionally run a kernel design for multi-core systems. Then it says here, this shouldn't lead to any detrimental impact on single core systems. Then it says in parentheses, not that many folks likely run one full-time in 2025, but adopting a unified scheduling approach across all CPUs should reduce code and make kernel behavior more reliable. Then it says another subtopic, speed boost, question mark. Says here, Linux 6.17 picks up initial proxy execution support. This new kernel feature may speed up apps by preventing slowdowns when a high priority application is waiting for a resource. The system temporarily gives the resource holder a boost, causing it to finish and release the resource faster. Yeah, Linux, folks. It says here in all blue, it says here a new kernel feature could speed up apps by preventing slowdowns when high priority tasks are waiting for a resource. Now, continuing here, it says here, are to word it the way kernel devs would. This resolves priority inversion problems by enabling high priority tasks waiting for lock to donate execution context to lock holders, which reduce latency spikes. And then it says slowdowns in desktop apps. And it says here, memory management sees various optimizations across the kernel subsystem notable with improved Futex performance for heavily threaded application and more reliable crash kernel handling for debugging when things go wrong. Says here, AMD hardware feedbacks interface was added. Modern processors mix two types of cores, performance and efficiency on AMD HF1. HF1 gives the kernel info to help it decide which core is better suited to which task, improving performance and power management. Then it says here, words, then it's not a subtopic, weird stuff. Linux 6.17 removes the, the PKTC DVD packet writing optimal driver. It was deprecated in 2016, survived a removal attempt in 2023, but now in 2025, optical packets writing is definitively, I'm sitting here messing up here, definitively done and dusted. A loss for those who like it, but a curio for those who never heard of it. Says here, there's also a bug fix for a kernel limitation dating back to 1993. Says here, it's related to a ELF program header handling that causes some application in certain conditions to bug out. After 30 years, someone has finally bothered to fix it properly. Says here, other changes beyond the highlights above, some other notable changes in 6.17. Okay, here we go. BPF subsystem, add standard string operation. BPF programs have output and error streams for user space communication. New daemon stat kernel module for simplified memory activity monitoring. TCP stacks now enforces receive window limits more strictly. Then it says ASOC adds AMD ACP 7.2 platform support. And then it says turbo stat utility gains L3 cache topology display. Then it says here, for more details on the release as a whole, read through the comprehensive merge report recaps. Then it says first half and second half. Then it says put out by the folks at LWN, or shift through the thousands of kernel commits on GitHub. Then it says grab a coffee before doing that. Says here, upgrade to Linux 6.17. Says here, Linux 6.17 is available for download from kernel.org as source, but you will need to compile that source code by hand to make use of it, not for the fainted of heart. And it says here, Ubuntu 25.10 includes Linux 6.17 by default, and the release will be ported to Ubuntu 24.4 LTS users in early 2026. And it says here, it will not be packaged for and uploaded to Ubuntu repository for other supported releases officially, but it is possible to make use of Conical's mainline debs or third-party PPA unofficially, not without caveats. However, says here, installing newer Linux kernels on Ubuntu from outside of the main repos comes with no guarantees and no support. They may lack Ubuntu-specific patches and driver not work in with some hardware or lack features integration. And what else here? It says here, as an Amazon associate, I earn, what he says? He says, as an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. When you use these links, you're helping to support independent Linux news coverage, and it costs you nothing extra, and it doesn't cost you anything extra. Anyway, so that is that. So you guys, you're good. Now, any comments from the politicians and debaters? Any comments? Going once, going twice. As soon as I saw this, I jumped on it. I just jumped all over it. Let's see here. Anything else? Anything else? Any comments from the debaters? Going once, going twice. I'm sitting there looking through the list here. See if I can find them. See if I can see anybody on the comment side, in the community yapping. Nothing yet. No. Oh, it says low comment sections. Let's see if they got something. No comment. I don't see no comments. Nothing. Oh, wait a minute. There are some. Latest comment. Someone here. Who is this? Bert said this. I often use script to start. He said, wait a minute. He says, no. He says a step backwards. I often use script to start. And then, who is this? He says, who is this? Linux Gamer said this. He says, my cup of tea, but plasma is. Anyway, and then, who is this? Jack says this. Pleasantly surprised to find the current Ubuntu 25.10. And then Wolf said this. There will be a problem for me. I often adjust it. He's talking about Ubuntu 25.10. And who is this? Linux Gamer says, Plasma is, he says, lightweight these days. Ubuntu 25.10 no longer includes startup application tools. So, those are all the comments. Yeah. So, 6.17, it's out. Yeah. For you Linux professionals, Linux engineers, who's been keeping up with this stuff. Another kernel, another chapter. So, for those who don't know how to use the Linux kernel, well, you can get help from people with experience. Go into the community section and talk to people about it. If you run into an issue. So, there's always help in the Linux community. When it comes to this Linux kernel, but. For you expert, Linux kernel expert, indulge yourself. Have some fun with this one. Yeah. But they say 2026, for Ubuntu 24.4, and then Ubuntu 25.10 includes Linux kernels, Linux 6.17 by default. So 2026. And then it says, what it says here, it will not be packaged for and upload to Ubuntu repositories for other support release officially, but it is possible to make use of Conical's mainline debs. And it says, or third party PPA unofficial is not without caveats. So, yeah, when it comes to using the kernel, it's good to have like couple desktops. One that you can practice on, and then one or two that you have with you, for backup, just in case if you run into a problem. So, yeah, there's always that. But other than that, you guys are good for now. And even though Linux 6.7, Linux kernel 6.17 just came out, 6.18 is being worked on. Yeah, I was just on Phoronix reading up on it. So yeah, yeah, they're just moving right along, man, moving right along. So when the next one comes out, I'll read it to you. Oh, yeah. But for now, you guys are good. For your gaming needs, you're covered. But what they have here, they got the BPF subsystem. That's a for add standard string operation. BPF programs have output and error streams for user space communication, daemon stats, kernel module for simplified memory activity. What's this? Activity monitoring. TCP stacks now enforces received window limits more strictly. This is ASOC adds AMD ACP 7.2 platform support, and turbostat utility gains L3 cache topology display. So yeah, you Linux users are good. Gaming wise, you're covered. From AMD, Intel, you're covered. So this should hold you for now until 6.18. So that probably won't come out until like, what's it, September, till another, like, I would say probably like around December, January, somewhere around there. But when they're done with that, I'll read it to you again. So yeah, you guys are good. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Like, dislike, comment. It's all part of the YouTube package, you know. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good Sunday. See you next time. Bye for now.